Hey, I would say good morning, but it's actually evening. And I was looking at some comments, and while it's on my mind, I figured this would be a good time to address some of the conversation going on in my last video. I think it's adorable, you're all talking to each other. Cool. So there were some questions and concerns. Now, look, I've been juggling finances for the past 6 years. And maybe I didn't do everything right, but I've learned a lot of lessons from things I did do. And there weren't a lot of choices, and money goes really fast. I think we all know that, especially if we're a widow and, I mean, it just goes fast. Even a $50,000 policy, it's just not a lot of money anymore, is it? And I had no policy when he died. I should have bought that 20-year policy. No, I didn't. Lesson to be learned, right, girls? Guys? Think about the future, because stuff happens, and it's always good to have a little bit of buffer money. So some of the questions were, so why don't I keep my 2018 Toyota Corolla IM? It's in good condition, like brand new. I think it has like 20-something thousand miles on it, not much, 22, I think. And one, it's extremely uncomfortable to drive. It bangs around, is not comfortable. The seat is not comfortable. You're really squished in there, and it just is not a good travel vehicle, period. The other problem is because it's newer, it's more expensive to insure. And because it's newer, I'd want collision and comprehensive on it. I'd want to make sure that that's an expensive car. You don't want to just not insure it. So that's one thing. The gas mileage wasn't bad. It was doing about 28 miles to the gallon. For such a small car, it's kind of surprising that it didn't do better, but it didn't. So could I have towed with it? Could I tow with a Toyota Corolla? Yeah, I can tow a total of 1,500 pounds, and I'm not sure if that includes inside the car as well as whatever you're towing. I'm not sure about that. 1,500 pounds. Most pop-up campers hit about 2,000. So that's dry weight. You wouldn't want to pull. As it is, the little car could barely pull itself with just me in it. Sometimes, you put your foot down on the gas pedal and like nothing happens. It's just not strong. It's a tiny car with a small engine, and it just, the transmission is, what it is. Towing. They do make a... River Forest makes a lightweight pop-up camper, 1,400 or a little over. So I would barely just skid by with something like that. But here's the real problem, okay? I'm going to have the car. I'm going to have the price of gas, the price of insurance, the price of maintenance for that car. There is just, and my own food, because, and I'll talk about Medicaid and food stamps in just a moment, because that was another concern from a viewer. I can't afford a campground. There's just no way I will be able to afford to pull a pop-up into a campground. I must be stealth if I'm doing van life, or minivan life, or station wagon life, or SUV life, or whatever comes to me. I'm trusting God. Let's just call it God. Good, orderly direction. G-O-D, God. I'm trusting God to give me what I need when I need it. Honestly, in my life, something's got my back. Always. And I sincerely have never, ever spent one night in the outdoors without some sort of protection over me, without food available, without a little bit of money. Even one time when, story, we were heading out west. I told part of the story this morning, and I was pregnant with Bonnie, and we were somewhere in California, maybe? Well, anyway, we had come to this little town, and we saw in our flea market book that there was a flea market there. We had $40 left to our name. We had 2 vans that we needed to fill with gas. He was towing a Wells cargo trailer, and I was towing a Shasta camper. And we had $40 left to our names. So we go to this drive-in theater flea market, and we didn't have a license for that town, and they wouldn't let us set up. Well, Dennis, being Dennis, charismatic through and through, he chatted with this one and that one, talked to the owner and manager, and he got them to allow us that one day. And we made about $2,000. We were ready to move on. I've never, ever been without. One time we drove into Brimfield show. He'd spent we had a jar of change left. And I think I've told this story before. The owner's daughter and son were taking over her property for the flea market, the Brimfield flea market. It was the Meadows field, and $10 parking? I said, all we have is this jar of change. Can we just give it to you, and we'll get you the $10 as soon as... And it was a big... It probably had $40 in it, you know. Get off this property right now. Turn this vehicle around right now. And Betty heard them and came running over. She said, this is Dennis Page. She said, you let him in here. Dennis, you get me the $10 when you have it. So, yeah, I've never gone without. And, you know, we started making money right away, even though you're not supposed to sell during setup. We did, you know. That way we could have breakfast the next day. And, you know, that was my life a lot of times. I'm quite used to being hanging by my chinny chin chin, by the hair of my chinny chin chin. So, you know, I'm used to hardship. Not in the last... Well, I don't know. Do you want to call 6 years of caregiving and being on the edge of your seat, not knowing if you're coming or going, as a hardship? I do. So, yeah, though I wasn't, you know, thrust out into the streets, though, you know, it was scary for a while. I couldn't find anything down here I could afford. And we hadn't sold the house in Maine yet, you know, and I just kept badgering on this place. I kept badgering and praying and badgering, and I got it. I got it for the price I was willing to pay. And I made out all right. I more than doubled my money. You know, I did have expenses when I moved in here. I was just looking at all the receipts today because I was going through paperwork, trying to do anything and everything I can to get this house moving forward, to be emptied and, you know, given to the new people. So back to towing and campgrounds. I'm not going to be able to afford campgrounds. It really depends on my back issues, if I can do any flea markets, if I can make any extra money at all. I have product to sell. I've got it. Whether I can do it or not is the big question. You know, pain is extremely distracting, and if I got myself in a worse fix while I'm in pain and trying to unload a vehicle and set up tables and set things out and stand on my feet for 3 to 5 days, depending on what I do. I don't know. Will I be like left totally incapacitated and stuck in a flea market field? And they're going to want me to get out, you know. Once the show is over, out. That's how it is. They're not going to care that I put my back out and I can't move. There's just a lot of ifs, ands, and buts going on in my life right now. So with that $883 that I have to my name, that's my income. That's it. Okay? That's all she wrote. $883. I've got to make it work, including food. Because, yes, once I get a check for this trailer and or my car, and I cash it, that has to be reported within 10 days. So I'm not doing anything until I know I'm in far enough to be able to close my case, and that's what I'm going to do. Right now, I'm putting everything off because I'm waiting for a piece of paper from Access Health, and they are the welfare for Florida in my area. Access Health. They sent me a paper saying that my Medicaid was ongoing from here on in. Obviously, I'm deemed disabled. And so I wrote them recently and I said, I want something saying why. Why are you giving me my Medicaid? Clearly, I must have qualified as being disabled. Could you please show me what your findings are? And a letter would be nice because I can use other agencies with a letter of disability. And one of the things I can use is state and national campgrounds. When you're disabled, they often, entry fees can be, waived. And sometimes you get like $10 a night camping, and that would allow me a few nights a week to be able to camp in state parks or national parks and get a shower, cook on the grill, what have you, So I need that letter. I'm not doing anything financially until I have something in my hand, if I can get it from them. If I can't, I'm poop out of luck. But so that I think that covers the question. What about Medicaid and food stamps? They're going to know as soon as you have money. Yeah, that's true. They can randomly search anytime. So you have to be really careful, which I'm being. I'm not going to. I got a small deposit for my trailer, and it didn't push me over the $3,500 limit. I'm allowed to have $3,500 total in cash, what have you. And I'm well under that at this point because the $1,000 that they gave me toward the house, I then put it along with $440 more to pay the 3 months. They wanted to see that my 3 months were paid up, the new buyers, because they were worried I'd just, skirt the place, leave and leave them with the rent when they can't really afford it for the next 3 months. They're paying rent up north. Their plan is to leave there in September, come down here, start paying, rent. I don't know how she's waiting on her SSDI, and it hasn't come through yet. Once they have that, they'll be all set. So, yeah, I can't really tow anything with my little Corolla I am. The car, and even if I could or did, campgrounds are beyond me. They've gone through the roof in price, So keeping my car just doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make sense in power and ability to do things. Plus, I also would want to have room or the ability to tow a U-Haul trailer if I want to take goods and try to go do a show. I'm sorry, my nose is itching really bad and I don't know why. So that was, okay, so Jill, I can't read my own writing. Is it Jill Marino? That's the worst writing I've ever seen in my life. It's my writing. I can't read my own writing. She says, apartments, homes, maintenance, she feels it would be better, or that might have been Bonnie, I don't know, Bonnie Dunbar. Either way, one of the questions asked, somebody asked about Medicaid and food stamps, and yes, I understand the rules and the laws, believe me. I'm very thorough with all these things. I had to be, especially with Dennis, you know. Oh, the paperwork, the red tape, the insanity. I've been through it all, you know. Why do you think we had no income for 3 years and had to live off of the money that I got from the house in Maine? I knew what the rules were. Now, I didn't know that I had a right to withhold $120,000 from myself. Never would have happened. Maybe I could have, I don't know. But I wouldn't be able to get Medicaid if I had any money in reserve like that. So, yeah, I mean, I know the rules. I understand this. I've been on this crap for 6 years. And so, yeah, I get the rules. And, yeah, maintenance and having an apartment, it's a tough decision. Let's face it. It's 6 of one, half dozen of another. I mean, to have my own little place, peace and quiet, and nobody around me is my ideal. I would love that more than anything. I'm not a big people person. I don't like noise. As a matter of fact, I cringe at noise. And it's been very hard living here because on weekend nights, and I haven't heard any yet, four-wheelers, ATVs, motorbikes, they run until sometimes 2 in the morning. And it's very distressing. Especially when Dennis was alive and so sick. It was hard. Really hard. I would really love to be in a quiet little acre somewhere. A little house that, no, might not be perfect, but if the roof doesn't leak and I can stay relatively warm or relatively cool inside of it, depending on the weather, I'd be fine. I do have to think about the future as far as aging in place somewhere. And, you know, I was thinking about assisted living, and one of the reasons I didn't want to put my late husband, in assisted living is because he'd have to have a shared bathroom. And when you're older and you're sick, you need the bathroom when you need the bathroom. You can't be walking down the hall to find the public bathroom when, you know, you're not well. And that's what they expect you to do in assisted living. I don't want to end up there. I'll have to go the way of my husband. I'm not joking. I don't want to go into one of those places. I'd like to have a little place where the, you know, Medicaid will cover nursing up to 35 hours a week, I understand. So if I could have something like that in my own little home, that's what I prefer. Whether that own little home be a little, you know, crappy cabin that's on a little piece of land already, or I fix up, maybe put a little shed, like a Lowe's barn or something on the property. I mean, they make the sheds really cute now, and you can just reinforce your joists and studs to meet code. You know, you can sister a piece against it if it's not wide enough, etc. Like if they call for a 2x6, but it's built with a 2x4, you add a 2-inch, you know, piece of board to the existing joists. And I don't know. I got 883 to work with. And, you know, every year that's going to go up a little, God willing. It'll go up because the cost of living has gone through the roof. They're talking about an 8.9% increase for January this coming. And, yeah, that, if my pay keeps going up little by little, that's more I can afford beyond my home expenses. And so That's what I'm hoping for. And that's why I'm not rushing into a vehicle. I'm not rushing into anything right now. I need to take my time. I need to play this out. Number one is get this place condensed to manageable for me. Manageable for me. That's where all of my efforts are going into. And I can always find something to rent while I'm deciding after I have to leave here. I have seen a few rooms for rent in the $5 to $5.50 range a month. And that's a little high, especially since I won't have food stamps, but I can manage. And that's a possibility. I really do not want to throw myself on the mercy of my kids because their house is smaller than the apartment was. It's missing like 2 rooms. And the rooms they do have is way smaller than what they had. Of the rooms, the bedrooms were bigger, the living room was bigger, the kitchen was bigger. They're minus a dining room and a bathroom now, and it's smaller still. That isn't easy on them. And the kitchen is so tiny that 2 people really cannot fit very easily in it. It's that small. So I do not want to put myself on them. That just can't happen, you see. And so PK mentions, have I thought of Arkansas? Yes, indeed. I have Arkansas, Northwest Texas. All of that's open right now. But I have to wait. I have to wait for the prices to go down. And I'm already seeing it. You couldn't find anything in West Virginia 7 months ago. You couldn't find anything in Maine 7 months ago in the $30,000 range. There was nothing. Now there is. And prices are falling. And I know that that's going to mean opportunity is coming. And that's what I want to catch, that train. I want to ride that opportunity and find my absolute best possible state, home. Residential taxes are going to be very important because I can't do $1,500 a year in residential taxes. It's got to be around the $500 to $600 a year tops. I have a very limited income, and when I'm ready to settle down, I'll be ready to settle down. And I'll stay in that place, and that's where all my money, all my income will go into, is living in that one place. So, yes, I have thought of Arkansas. And a minivan, yes, I've thought of a minivan. I've thought of an SUV. I've thought of a milk truck. I've thought of a station wagon. I've thought of a hearse. That would be gross. I've thought of everything possible. Minibus. I'm open. I'm open to whatever God has in store for me. I can work around it. I know I can. Yeah, I might be down for several days, like, what happened to me recently, and I might have to just lay down in whatever I'm living in and stay there for a few days, make sure I have food. One thing I know I have to have is one of those refrigerators attached to an alternator in the vehicle. So it's my understanding that the Chevy Express is great for that, if I should get a Chevy. And but you can put like a second alternator in the vehicle and have that separate just for your refrigerator. So that's a possibility. And I still have my Jackery, a 1500 Jackery, and I have everything else to go with it. So is that everything? So I covered the towing. That car just isn't worth keeping. It's not worth keeping. I need something older with lower insurance, and I need something bigger that'll get things done for me. If I have to haul something, if I have to take things to shows, I've already covered all that. So I'm open, and I appreciate you all sending me emails, and I always have my email address underneath in my description. So you can always drop me an email if you see something or hear about something in your area. Definitely give me a link. I'll look. I'm interested in Ohio. I'm interested in Pennsylvania, as long as it's towns with really low taxes. I'd like to be near the Amish communities because I really love fresh produce in season, and they're very affordable. Oh, I had the best peaches ever outside of Lancaster, PA, when my daughter was going to college there, and we brought her for the first time there and got her settled in, and we went driving around and the back roads because we were staying at an Airbnb, and oh, we found this little farm stand, and I bought a crate of peaches, and I'm telling you, not one of them went to waste. So good. And while I was going home, I found this huge watermelon. I grabbed that, and it was all kinds of produce, and just driving down a regular road, there were little stands everywhere. I love that. I love that so much, especially in the fall, going around the little shops and picking up a pumpkin or those little strawberry corn. Ever see those? And the Indian corn. And yeah, I miss Four Seasons, and I miss that kind of life. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk about is, while I would love to live my life for my children, I can't, just as they can't live their life for me. I don't know what their future plans are, just as they don't know what their future plans are. Florida might not be forever. They're talking about buying the house that they're renting right now, but that's as an investment, so they can rent that out. They want to create residual income, as I have always said they should. That's where it's at, residual income. And if I could find a little place with enough land that maybe I could put a fifth wheel on it and have a summer rental that I could make a little extra money on, or like I said, run a little shop or something of that nature. There's possibilities out there, and as we're going into a recession, I think there's going to be really excellent opportunities out there, and I'd like a little piece of that pie. I would. I guess that's it. That's everything. So, if I can't be near my children, well, I can make friends if that's really what I want. And I wouldn't mind a girlfriend that we could go, out to lunch once a week and, go to the little places just to window shop and go see a movie or what have you, or just go to each other's houses and have popcorn and movie night. I can make a life for myself and be happy. I'm sure I can. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. My medicines are starting to take effect, so now I might just be wandering in my poor head. So I think it's time to close this one. 28 minutes. Groovy. So thank you so much for being concerned about me. Please don't worry about me. I'm not going to make a stupid mistake. I'm not going to go and spend all my money. I'm scared, and some fear is good. And the fear I'm experiencing is the right kind of fear. It says, proceed with caution and be absolutely, positively sure. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So trust me, pray for me. I pray for all of you out there. Blue Rose Ramblings' daughter, Jeannie, has not been feeling well, had some surgery, and is not recovering, I guess, as well as she could. So perhaps we could pray for Jeannie. Please remember my son, Dennis. He is slow in recovering, but it's only been 3-ish days. And pray that that biopsy is benign. And yeah. And I'm doing pretty good. I'm still in pain, but I'm functioning. Matter of fact, I went over and I made chowder for Dennis tonight. I called him and I said, hey, do you need anything from me? What's going on over there? Because, Maggie's got the whole brunt of it on her. And He said, I'd really like some soup. And I said, chicken noodle? And he said, chowder. And that he had cod in the freezer. And I had the potatoes, broth, and onions. He had the cod and the half and half. And so I went over there and made him a nice chowder. He's got chowder for days. Lots of chowder. 2 pounds of fish. So, yeah, you know, I'm managing. I'm doing all right. And I'll do even better as the days go by. I'm sure I'll recover fully and be back to my old self and start working again on the porch and the shed. Maybe I'll go to the shed first. Oh my God. Oh, it's scary. I don't want to deal, but I have to deal, so I'm going to deal. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. This will be posted tomorrow. God bless y'all. Talk to you soon. Bye.